Greg, New Hampshire here. My name is Greg, and I am an alcoholic. I'd like to talk about the 12 steps. When you're getting ready to enter into recovery, one of the things that you're going to want to do is to go through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous, whichever you choose. I think in my experience, strength, and hope video, I discussed the AWOL a procedure where you go into an intense study of the steps, and you do that rather quickly. Some places around the world can do an AWOL in one day. You can go through all 12 steps in one day. It's pretty amazing stuff. There's a book out there called Back to Basics by Wally P. It's a great book. It gives you step-by-step instructions on how to get through the 12 steps. It's not a sanctioned by AA book, but it's, let's face it, AA is about, one alcoholic helping another. And it's just a great read. I facilitated an AWOL using that format for 6 months. And it was a 4-week class. We met once a week, so we got through the 12 steps in 4 sessions. And it works really, really well. And then if you want to, I went through the steps several times myself. Once with intensely with a sponsor. If you don't have a sponsor, get one. They're not hard to find. Believe it or not, sponsors are looking for sponsees probably more than sponsees are looking for sponsors. So don't be afraid to ask somebody at a meeting if you've gotten that far. Get yourself to a meeting, and don't be afraid to ask somebody. When a lot of the AA meetings or NA meetings, there's usually a part of the meeting where they'll either give out chips or they'll give out key tags in the case of NA, and part of the spiel is to have anybody with a year or more raise their hand to show that the program does in fact work. And if they do that at the meeting, then look around, look who's got a year or more, and keep an eye on that person or those people, and scope them out, pick one that you might want to emulate, and pick that person as a sponsor. And when they say no, go on to the next one. That's how it works. So I wanted to briefly just go through the 12 steps and what they mean. Some people said, well, do I have to do all 12? Well, yeah. They're numbered. They're in order. They're in order for a reason. And they were well thought out. If you study the origins of AA and the origins of the 12 steps and all the people that were involved in the formation of Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous. Bill W. started, was one of the founders of AA, and I can't remember the NA guy's name at the moment, but he was associated with Bill W., and that's how he got his start. So the NA program is modeled after the AA program. Anyway, the step number 1 is we admitted that we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. Now, when I say alcohol, if you're a heroin addict, a cocaine addict, a rock addict, whatever your drug of choice was, just when I say alcoholic or alcohol, you just substitute for whatever your deal is. It's pretty simple. It's all the same thing. It's a disease, the disease of addiction. It's just, there's no two ways about it. And that's, as I explained in my first video, it's something I really grasped with until I hit bottom. So, you'll hear, you have to surrender to win. You'll hear that saying a lot. And it's so true. You know, how many times have you told yourself, this is my last time? How many times, excuse me for that, how many times have you told yourself that, you know, I'm not going to ever drink again? This is it. This is my last bag. This is it. I mean, my deal is a jerk. I can't, you know, you just can't. You can't win. So, that's what we mean by surrender to win. Because you've been fighting it for however long. I mean, I was a daily drinker for 41 years. Was I fighting my addiction for 41 years? No. But it's a progressive disease. And at some point, you know, when I started to try and control my drinking was controlling me. That's how it works. And again, it substitute the drug of your choice. So you have to say to yourself, okay, I'm powerless over my drug of choice. I can't control it. It's controlling me. And because you've got a mind-altering substance that's controlling your life has become unmanageable. It's as simple as that. And if you don't think your life is unmanageable, then, you know, count how many times you've been in front of the judge. Count how many times you missed paying a bill. Count how many times you missed going to your kids, whatever. Count how many times you didn't meet a promise that you made to your loved one, your significant other, or whatever it is. Just sit there and think about it. If your life was manageable, then all of those questions would not need to be asked. So, if you can sit there and you can say to yourself, okay, I give up. This has got the best of me. I'm done with it. I need help, and I want to get my life back to a manageable state. That's step one. Now, step two, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Now, when I first read that, I said to myself, this is nuts. I mean, I'm the smartest guy in the world. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not insane. You don't need to return me to sanity. I already am sane. And then, after a while, I started to realize, well, no. I was quite insane. It didn't matter how many times I was arrested. It didn't matter what my wife said to me. Nothing mattered. I would continue to do these things that would cause them and myself harm. I had a brand new truck, and I couldn't drive down the street without, you know, a glass of vodka in the console. That's insane behavior. Think about it. You know, you just really think. Be honest with yourself. And I did a video on honesty. I mean, be honest with yourself. I mean, how many things that you are doing to support your habit that would be considered sane by a normal person? It's not there. So the second part of that is that we believe that a higher power could restore us to sanity. If you don't have a higher power, or if you don't believe in God, I happen to be a Christian. That's my way. That's my deal. I know a guy that likes the ocean. He thinks the ocean is his higher power. Another guy looks at the universe. He loves looking at the stars, and he'll have his one-on-one with the stars or whatever. It could be a totem pole. I don't care what it is. But you've got to have something that you think is outside of you that has more power than you do. I mean, just look around you. If you come to believe that there is a God, then God bless you. And then that's fine. But you need to believe that there's something else out there. Now, in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and in the Blue Book of Narcotics Anonymous, God is mentioned. I think it's over 100 times in the first 119 pages or something like that. But he also referred to it as the creator of the universe, the all-powerful, whatever. It's not a religious thing. Okay, so get that out of your mind. Nobody discusses religion in an AA meeting or an NA meeting. So if you're afraid of that, then just let that go. It's as simple as that. People when they relate their stories, talk about God or things like, yeah, I do, but that's me, and you don't have to subscribe to that belief. You just need to believe that there's something else that has more power than you, and then try and rely on that. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Now, just having said what I just said, just you give yourself up. Let something else take over, and you'll be surprised how it works. If you say, well, Greg, what do you? Well, look at it the other way. You've been running your life on your will, okay? How's that working out for you? Okay? So, why not give it a try? Give it 90 days. I'll tell anybody, just give it anything 90 days. Give NA 90 days, give AA 90 days, whatever. Just do it for 90 days. And if it doesn't work for you, then fine. I know, I can't tell you, countless number of people that I've seen show up at meetings just to get their paper signed because the judge said, you need to go to AA or you need to go to NA. I don't care where you go, but you need to bring this paper signed for at least one meeting a week or whatever the guy orders him to do. And I see these people show up with the papers. Some of them you can smell that they just left the bar, or whatever. They need to get their paper signed. And that's fine. We don't have a problem with that. Go sit in the back, enjoy the donuts and the coffee, and I'll sign your paper. At the end of the meeting, you get your paper back. And a lot of these people, a lot of these guys and gals are ordered to do this for 90 days. And you know what happens after 90 days? They're not there getting their paper signed anymore. They're there because they're getting the help that they need. It's working for them. Okay? So turn your will and your life over to the care of God as you understood Him or understand Him. And let's do that. Now, in the honesty video, I talked about steps 4 and 5. Step 4 is made a searching and fearless inventory of ourselves. What does that mean? I talked about a place in your mind where you keep a whole bunch of crap. I picture it as a closet. It's loaded with all kinds of stuff. And there's stuff all over the place in the closet. But the biggest problem in that closet is the box that's up on the top shelf, way in the back corner. That's where all the bad stuff is. The really bad stuff. That's where all that is. Okay? So when you do your inventory, it's easy to clean out the front part of the closet, stuff that's on the floor right in front of you, and you can get all that down on paper. You got to write this down. Write it down. Talk to your smartphone. However you do it, but you need to get it from here to the outside so that you can read it, listen to your own voice or whatever. But you need to take your inventory, do the fearless moral inventory, and get it from inside to outside. It may take you more than once. Some people are okay; they can do it once. Maybe they don't have a bigger box as I had up in the corner. Anyway, and then in step 5, you admit it to God, to yourself, and to another human being, the exact nature of these wrongs. Okay, so whatever your inventory was, you wrote it down, and now you're going to admit it to the God of your understanding and to another human being. Now, of course, when you're writing it down, your higher power is there, and when you're relaying all that to another human being, your higher power is there. So it becomes it sounds like a daunting exercise. It sounds pretty scary. Some people, when they first hear this, they go, no effing way, I ain't telling people squat about that, or this, or whatever it is. Well, 9 times out of 10, the person you picked as a sponsor either had more crap in his closet, or has more than a couple of sponsees that had more crap in their closet. You're not going to be able to tell this guy or gal something that they haven't heard. Believe me. But as daunting as it may sound, everybody that does it, and does it thoroughly, all have the same reaction when they get done. Oh my God, what a relief. I wish I did it sooner. Things like that. It's a wonderful thing to be able to cleanse yourself out, and that the weight of the world gets lifted off your shoulders, and it's a feeling that it's very difficult to explain. So do your step 5. Now, because of what was in our closet, we were putting stuff in our closet. Our lives were unmanageable. All of these things were happening because we were model human beings. No. There's obviously some defects in our character that cause us to do that. And in step number 6, we're entirely ready to have God, and again, the God of your understanding, remove all these defects of character. It's a humbling experience, but it's something that you got to do. And in step 7, this is where the rubber meets the rubber meets the road, is you humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. So in step 4, you've admitted all of these. You've taken this inventory. In step 5, you've admitted all of these wrongdoings. In step 6, you prepared yourself to have yourself basically fixed. And then in step 7, you humbly ask your higher power to fix these shortcomings. Now, in step 8, we need to fix the damage that we've done, so that we can move on. I mean, we've cleaned out our inventory, but we have a past. We've hurt a lot of people, and we need to make amends to those people. All right. Now, who do you make amends to? Well, your amends list is going to be it's going to be extensive if you sit down and you really think about it. Okay. I mean, I made amends to when I came to January 25th of 2015. I came to in a hospital bed, and really didn't understand what was going on at first, and I wasn't actually a model patient, and I was pretty rough on the staff there. And a year after my the following year, on that same day, I happened to attend a meeting. I was a guest speaker at the meeting that was in that hospital, and I went upstairs after the meeting, and I made my amends to the staff. I handed them a nice thank you card, and a short, little letter about how grateful I was for all the assistance that I had, and that their efforts weren't in vain, and that I, in fact, on that day had 365 days without a drink, and to show them that I had changed, which is what amends means. You don't say you're sorry to the Constitution. You need to amend it. Then that's what that means. You need to not only apologize to the person that you're trying to make amends to, but you need to show them, you need to demonstrate that there has been a change. Your behavior has changed. You can't say you're sorry to somebody and then continue to do the same things that you just said you were sorry about, because that doesn't mean you're sorry. You need to make the amends. You need to make the change. I'm sorry I'll make my amends. Okay? So that's how it works. So, and you need to put, like, you know, a couple of police officers that, you know, kept having run-ins with me that I wasn't too kind to. Things like that. I mean, I really, you know, took a look at a lot of people that I had caused harm to, or chaos or whatever. You know, my ex-boss had to fire me, and I made amends to him. I told him I was sincerely sorry that he had to do what he did. He didn't want to. Known me for a long time. So I put him through hell. So I had to make amends to him. And, you know, I'm making a living amends with my favorite ex-wife. And that'll just go on forever. And that's wonderful. So make the list. I know a guy that said, you know, he handed his list over to a sponsor, and there was like 100 names on there, and he goes, "You sure you got everybody on here?" And the guy says, "Yeah." He says, "Well, I think you're missing one person." And he said, "Who could that possibly be?" And he said, "Yourself. You need to forgive yourself, okay? To move on. You keep beating yourself up. You need to put the baseball bat in the closet, and stop beating yourself up. And you can't change what happened. You know, in our preamble, we talk about not regretting the past. What good does that do? It's just a waste of time and emotion. You can't regret the past because you can't change a damn thing about it. You can change everything about today and tomorrow. So, you know, those who live in the past are destined to have that as their future. So think about that. So you make a list of all these people that you need to make amends to. And is that going to happen quickly? No. Like in the AWOLs, you're making a list, and then step 9, if you're in a weekend AWOL or a 4-week AWOL, we understand that you can't possibly make all these amends in a week. So, but you need to make some, and then it's a continuing process. You know, I still have a few amends to make. Timing is everything. Some people you can't make amends to right away, because in step 9 it says made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. So, you know, I don't know what to use for an example. Maybe you were having an affair with somebody, and, you know, sending that person a letter wouldn't be a good deal because their significant other might read the letter before they do or something. I don't know, whatever, you know. But there's just, you know, there could be timing issues, and or there could be people that you just won't be able to make amends to because it would harm them. For those people, write down what your amends is, stick it in a drawer, you know, or mail it to yourself. Go through the act of making the amends without actually making the amends. That's a great way to get it, you know, off your shoulders, and stick it in a drawer. You know, if someday it becomes appropriate to finally make that amends years later, whatever, you've got it dated, stamped. Here you go. Step number 10 is continue to take daily inventory, and when we were wrong, we promptly admitted it. This is huge. This is step 10, 11, and 12 are the rest of your life. This is the way you live. Okay, this is AWOL stands for a way of life. That's what AWOL is. Okay, so when you properly complete the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, you should be living a new way of life. And so it becomes real easy when you've cleaned yourself out and something happens. You're dishonest with somebody, don't do that. Or you know you did something wrong, don't put it back in the closet. Okay, get rid of it right away. Admit that you were wrong, and then it's gone. You're still cleaned out. You know. So properly admit when you're when you err, and if you at night you take your daily inventory before you go to bed. Geez, the next day, make that admission as quickly as possible. Don't let that fester and grow inside of you. This stuff is like a cancer, and so we don't want to do that. We want to keep ourselves as free from guilt and all these other things as possible. Step 11 is sought through prayer and meditation to increase our conscious contact with God as we understand Him. Again, it's praying is whatever. I think it goes on to say, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. A lot of people will get up in the morning and thank their high power for a glorious day, and Thy will be done. However you want to do it. If you leave yourself open, if you leave your mind open to suggestions to do the next right thing, then you'll experience what the will is of your higher power, and after a while it becomes second nature, and you will be constantly finding yourself doing the next right thing. I can remember, I think I mentioned this in my Experience, Strength, and Hope video, that when I was in active addiction, I'd get change from a cashier and they'd say, "Have a nice day," and I'd tell them, "I'll have the effing day I want to have," and it's wrong. At the time, I just that's the way I was. Now it's I immediately thank them and right back at you. You have the best day you can have. Thank you so much. And it just happens. It just just like it used to happen by me saying, "I'll have the effing day I want to have." That was automatic for me. Now it's automatic for me to do just the opposite. And I find it amazing. That's how this program works. That's the changes that you can see or will see in yourself if you do the 12 steps properly. Step 12. If you've never heard of a guy named Simon Sinek, you need to look this guy up. He's a motivational speaker. He's a fantastic speaker. He's so easy to listen to. I listened to a 45-minute video of this guy, and I'm glued to my seat. I don't want to get up. I'm not tempted to push the stop button at all with this guy. He grabs your attention, he keeps your attention, and he's just one thoughtful sentence after another. Extremely brilliant mind. Anyway, there's a video that he's done, and if I remember, I'll put it in the link in the video description. I think it's called "Why Alpha Males Eat Last or First" or something like that. There's alpha males in the title. And it's a whole dissertation on how the brain works, how humanity works, what makes us happy, what makes us want to survive, all of these things. And it's all these little chemicals in the brain. And I'll do a whole thing about dopamine receptors in another video, but that's what kept us going anyway. But he talks about helping others, and he said, and this is how I know, because he mentions Alcoholics Anonymous in this video. So keywords come up, and I see this video, and we actually watched this. I watched this while I was in treatment. And he said in Alcoholics Anonymous that they've got it figured out. And he goes through this short dissertation, but then he starts talking about step 12. And he says in step 12, and it's having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, and that's separate, Okay? We try to carry this message to alcoholics to help other alcoholics. It's basically what that's saying. And that's where we get our reward, is when we help another alcoholic get sober, or help another alcoholic in any way. It's the act of helping others. It releases a chemical in your brain that rewards you for doing a good deed. Okay? So look that video up. And step 12 is, having had a spiritual awakening. As a result of these steps, we tried to carry the message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. When I talk about the cashier, she says, or he says, have a nice day, and I returned in kind. That's practicing these principles in all my affairs. I'm not just a good guy to the people that love me. I'm a good guy to all people. I love all people now. I don't discriminate again. I don't have it in me anymore. It's the way it is. The spiritual awakening is amazing. Like I said, if you leave yourself open to doing the next right thing, then those thoughts come to your mind, just easily. And the spiritual life is so much better. And someone in one of my counselors early on in my recovery said, when we're 8 years old, we have everything we need to know. We know everything we need to know for the rest of our lives. Everything is right there. 8-year-olds, what do they do? They're happy. They love you. They please and thank you. All of that good stuff. They've got it. Their tank is full. Okay, their spirituality tank is full. They know more right from wrong. There's no evil bones in their body. We hope. I mean, are there bad 8-year-olds out there? Maybe, but they're a direct reflection of their parents. But most 8-year-olds have what they need, and that spirituality tank that's full when we're 8 years old just gets drained. I mean, by the time we're so deep in our addiction, we have no spirituality left. There's nothing there. We don't care. We don't care about our loved ones. We don't care about ourselves. We don't care about nothing except our next high, our next drunk, whatever it is. That's all we care about. Where's the spirituality in that? It's gone. So that's the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a wonderful way of life. Excuse me for that again. So I'll do other topics later. I can take requests for topics if you'd like. Just leave some comments if you have questions, whatever you want. Wish you well. God bless you. I'm Craig, and I'm an alcoholic.